Mike Bohn joined now by the UFC BMF champion Justin Gaethje, who is set to fight Max Holloway next week, UFC 300. Justin, by this time next week, you'll be weighed in, largely rehydrated. Media will be done. Final face-off will be done. Does that all just sound like bliss to you to get to that point?
Oh, definitely. But it's part of the process. So I'm gonna enjoy it all. That's why I've been my last two fights have been coming out 10 days early, so I can really get settled in before everything really picks up on Tuesday. So did the same thing this camp, and yeah, whenever it's all done, I'll be ready for the most fun part, and that's fighting people.
Yeah, definitely. And the countdown show came out, I think, yesterday. And kind of the quote that's going around was you predicting that you're going to get a doctor stoppage finish against him. I don't know how long ago that was recorded, but if it was a while ago, has like your thoughts on how you might win this fight evolved in more recent weeks? Or do you still feel like that's
Well,
how this goes down?
I mean, I think that's just best case scenario. Again, I have a lot of respect for Max. If I can, cut his eye, break his arm, cause him to not be able to walk anymore. That sounds like an ideal situation for me rather than putting him to sleep. But I know he's going to be trying to knock me out, and so I will have no hard feelings to myself or to anything if I do put him to sleep. So that was just my that was probably 10 weeks ago. So I'm in much better shape now. I'm much more confident in my abilities than I was then, and we'll see how this fight goes down.
And you've obviously been very respectful to Max since the beginning. You guys talked about how you didn't even really want this fight in a perfect world, but we're here, we're doing it. And I'm just curious, like, I feel like you and Max operate on the same mental level a lot of ways, just like your feelings towards the fight game, your mindset, what it takes to go in there and win a fight and what you're willing to put yourself through. Is that part of the reason why like you like him, because you relate maybe a lot to him?
Yeah, I mean, I've said it so many times that I know I'm 3 years older than him, but in 2012 when he was in the UFC, I was just turning pro. My journey was just beginning, and so I've been a fan of the sports for a long time, way before that. 2001, 1992. I've been watching this forever. So, a guy like him who's been so successful and fought for a championship many times. I mean, he's a fan favorite, and I'm a fan of the sport.
Yeah, and people, of course, love him, love you too. I think that's why the reaction to this fight was like so excited. But I think also some people are kind of putting their hands over their face a little bit because I feel like they don't want you to hurt him too bad. Is that kind of your thoughts on like the reaction from these
I
people
hope
that they just love
I
him so
hope
much?
I think so, but I hope they're concerned about me. He has the ability to hurt me just the same. So, this is a dangerous business, and luckily for me, it's not too crazy because it's normal. It's normal for me now. It's what I do. It's a game. It's the game that I play, and it's the game of my life. And so, yeah, I mean, I've really embraced what I do and who I am, and my ability to create damage. And it doesn't matter who's standing across from me on that night. They sign the contract, and it's time to win.
Yeah. What kind of expectation do you have as far as like him at lightweight? The fight with Poirier was pretty much 5 years ago to the day of this fight. He says he's got double the time. He's much more prepared for the lightweight
Yeah.
frame. But in
No, I
terms of
think
like how he'll actually perform, is it going to be largely the same?
yeah, I mean, he performed great in that fight. I
Hmm.
don't think he was outsized or outclassed. I mean, fighting's crazy. I think Poirier was a little bit better that night. Obviously, he won. But I think that was a kind of I remind. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think it was somewhat of a late replacement
Hmm.
when he fought
It was supposed to
Poirier,
be
and
Tony Ferguson, I think, in there
yeah,
originally.
and so I think it's very different circumstances. I think he's had the time, the whole training camp, to keep his weight, to bulk up. When I did the press conference with him, he was definitely not smaller than me. I think even at 145 pounds, he walks around heavier than me, and
Hmm.
so he's big. He's a big dude. I've noticed ever since I've been in a training room with him. One of my teammates was fighting. I was coaching, and he was in there working out. His calves are the same size as his thighs. That dude's got monster legs. And so I think he's going to be big, just as big as me. I think he's going to be just as strong as me. And I'm hoping he's a little bit slower because he's bigger.
Yeah,
But
and
we'll
we
see.
know leg kicks are always part of the attack for you or something you're able to go to. But we've seen people, especially Alexander Volkanovski, have some success there with him. Do you look at that fight and kind of put a big target on Max's legs as well?
No, I wouldn't say so. I mean, I don't put anything into anything, especially prior fights. I mean, I was overly confident in my ability to touch Oliveira's legs, and it really put me into bad position more times than I should have been. And so I'm not planning on doing anything other than being defensively sound and offensively ready to cause damage wherever it
Yeah.
presents itself.
Absolutely. And he holds the record for most UFC fights without ever being knocked down at 28. Even if you're not able to knock him out, would knocking him down be a big feather in your cap?
I think so because that would definitely assure that I'm winning the fight. That's the most important thing. But I just gotta be myself, be ready, be very cautious, be defensively sound, and be ready to be faster from point A to point B, which I've always been.
No doubt. And I want to ask you your opinion on a comment Max made the other day about how he wants Mark Coleman to wrap the BMF title around
Yeah,
the winner of this fight. What do you think of that idea? Are you on board with it?
I love it. Oh, absolutely. You guys, again, fought so many times. He was such a warrior in the cage, and what he just went through. I would love for him to do that. That's a great idea. Best idea Max had in a while. And he has a
Any
lot of good
indication?
ideas.
Yeah. Any
I have no
indication
clue. I
from the
haven't heard
UFC if this could
anything.
happen?
No,
Yeah.
I haven't talked to the UFC at all, so I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, Coleman posted that he's going to be flown out there with his family and stuff. So he'll
Yeah,
be there. Hopefully they
I'll
make this
definitely
happen.
enjoy it more than Masvidal putting it on me. I know that.
Yeah. He can get out there. He's been talking a lot of crap about you in the lead up to this fight too.
Yeah, he's a fucking loser.
Fair play. I don't. I feel like it's not fair to ask you about just like the circumstances of taking this fight when the lightweight title shot was there and all the timing was weird. So I'll ask it this way: I talked to Islam Makhachev a couple weeks ago. He said he wants to fight in June. In his perfect world, someone would turn around and from this card and probably fight him. But I know how seriously you take your preparation, your camps. Like even
Yeah,
if this goes perfectly, you win this fight, minimal damage, knock him out like you did Poirier or something. Is it even reasonable to ask you to make a turnaround for June 1st?
I definitely have not thought about it. But ideally, I mean, they're calling this Oliveira Sarukian fight a title eliminator. So the winner of that fight fights him in June or whenever he fights, and I fight the winner of that in preferably Madison Square Garden in November. Sounds like a perfect timeline for me. I'll definitely, have my time to rest, recover, and then retrain myself and get ready for that fight. That's perfect situation for me. We'll see if Oliveira shits the bed again, and I think if Sarukian wins, I think he takes it because again they're calling this the title eliminator,
Mhm.
and so whoever wins is going to have to fight that fight.
Yeah. Would you be annoyed at all if Dustin Poirier got the shot?
I'm sure I would be annoyed.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, Islam has been speaking out this fight. Habib spoke out like they're just like it doesn't make sense. We wanted to fight Gaethje. Like, why didn't we get the Gaethje fight? I know you're too close to fighting Max now for any of that to really matter. But I guess do you appreciate those guys' support that they feel like you're the one that deserves this above everyone?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's if you appreciate the way that this sport works, I fought Fiziev. I knocked out the number two guy, and there's nobody left. Oliveira was supposed to fight him in October. I was supposed to fight the winner of that fight in February, but it did not work out like that. And so this is where we're at, and this is what I have to take care of.
For sure. And last thing, Justin, obviously this is a huge event, monumental night for the UFC 300. Does this feel like anything more special than you've done to this point in your career? Or do you just kind of go into this fight week with a similar mindset to everything else?
Yeah, same mindset. You just can't make it bigger than it is. It's one fight. No matter where, no matter when, it is what it is. That's when we're fighting. That's how we're fighting. And Max Holloway is that guy. So that's the guy I got to go out there and beat.
Awesome, man. And I guess just last thing, does it mean anything to like potentially defend this BMF title? I know we're kind of creating the lineage here, but to be the first
Yeah.
guy to do that, would that be something special to you?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can be the first at anything, it's pretty special, especially when it's a positive thing. So I definitely like it, and it'll be great for my legacy.
Yep, for sure. And you've been the first to do a lot. One of the key ones, first to have 7 straight fight night bonuses to begin the UFC career. And there's many between you and Max here. So this is
First to
going to be an
do
awesome fight,
I
man,
had 7 or 9 bonuses in my first 7 fights.
for
That's
sure. And I
untouched. I got
guess
12 bonuses in 12 fights. I'm hoping this UFC 300 card brings $300,000 bonuses, and I'm always shooting for those things.
I hope so too, because they did $100,000 at UFC 100, and then I asked Dana White at the UFC 200 press conference if they could do $200,000 ones, and Daniel Cormier and Brock Lesnar were like, "Please do it," and he didn't do it. So maybe they'll change their
Was it
mind this time.
50? Was it 50 at that one?
Might have been 50 or like 60 or something, but I want to say it was 50.
It needs to be at least 100.
I agree. They're saying it's going to be the biggest gate in Las Vegas history. So exactly. All right, Justin. Thank you so much for the time, man. I'll see you out there in Vegas next week. Appreciate you.
All right, later.